This is a brand spanking new 12-string guitar from Gear4music. It's only out of the box, and I'm going to give it a really good look at and check it thoroughly for string height and set it up for the owner. I'm going to also give it a very critical look. It says it's got a flame maple top, but that doesn't look like any flame maple top that I've ever seen. It could be. I'll have a really close look at it. The plastic isn't even off the pick guard yet. And generally speaking, it's in good condition. It's electro-acoustic with a 2-band equalizer, which might be useful when you're doing 12-string. I was told off on one of my posts for moving the camera too much whenever I was describing the guitar to people, and the person was actually quite right for telling me off because it was shaking around all over the place. Now, the first negative thing I see is this is brand new, but the strings are in awful condition. Strings are really poor. There must be really, really cheap strings because they're all dirty and brown and black. So I'm going to change them. But you see the little bits of dirt in them, and there's other bigger bits further up there, and even at the top there's dirty strings there. So those are coming off right away to be changed. But I'll use the other camera, and when I'll analyze this guitar further. It's the jumbo size, which is bigger, the biggest they have, and so we'll have a good look inside to see how the strapping and the struts are, and let's check the frets, neck straightness, etc. First thing we'll look at is the neck. Check the frets. They're pretty rough as a badger's arse, as they say down there. They cut you to pieces down there, right? Let's check the neck where we are with the truss rod. Let me just look in there to see. That neck is perfectly straight and it's fully tuned up. I think I'll take the guitar strings off now. It says on the write-up that it's made of solid wood. That's a bit baffling, because is there such a thing as non-solid wood? Anyway, I'm going to just chop these strings off, because really I couldn't be bothered being so nice to loosen them all, so I'm just going to chop them off. Tuners all feel okay. They're adjustable tension tuners, which is good. Oh, there's a string broken already on this. It's missing. Oh, yes, the owner told me about that, so I shouldn't have forgot. So I'm just going to rip these out. Oh, those are flush in. No room to get them out. That's a strange way to do it. So I'll have to take them off from the bottom. That's very unusual. There's no way. That's more than 50% in. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. So how are you supposed to change the strings? It'd be the thicker strings you could do this with, but no. So, right, okay. What's that? A little bit of wood beneath the guitar. I'm going to give this a very critical eye. £149. It looks good. Let me have a good look at. There's another bit of wood. I'm just pulling off the wood that I feel loose. Oh, there's another piece. Right. This is just loose wood. Maybe I should have put the camera in. Let's put the camera and see what's going on in there. Right, okay. So, video, switch the flash on there, and then start it. And we'll have a quick look at that first.
from my little observations, it looks like they split the wood by drilling the holes in quite rough. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at there. Anyway, struts. What is that plastic thing? Let me put my hand in there and feel. Is that wood? It looks like plastic. It's been turned out well, and it looks beautiful inside. But why have I got a tone of irony in my voice that I don't think this guitar will last that long? But for £149, would you complain? As long as you get a good solid sound. And it swells. There's a huge strut right across it, and alright, it's all okay. Now what I'm going to have to do, maybe use my little wooden. But what do you do if you're going to change a string in the middle of a performance? How do you get that out? I'm going to use it and press against them. That's it. I got a feeling they've actually used pegs that are too small. Let me just get that last one out. Oh, right. Bring that out. Bring the strings out. I'm going to put my camera in again just to see what the problem is down in there with all those bits of wood coming off. I think it's just they did it fast, you know, the drill. Jing, 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 jing. So let's just have a look and see. Georgie Girl, I know I love you too. Yeah, that's what it was. It looks like it's a bit of plywood on the bridge, underneath the bridge, and they just went through fast and pushed out the wood at the end. I'll just take away any little bits that are lying there now. It's not a huge deal. I suppose you're on an assembly line, you're churning aside. I would imagine all these guitars are made in China. China, 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 China. So, should I replace these? Because you can't put your hand inside the guitar every time you... There's the bits of wood that I took out. By the way, you couldn't see them, I was sitting them at the side. But that's not a big deal, they're thin slivers. Right, okay, I'm going to pause now. And, well, let's look at the bridge. Yeah, okay. We have lots of room there to play. Let's look at the bridge height compared to the neck. Just do that. It's good, but I would like it to be more up there, the neck, because that gives you more room to play in years to come. It's okay. I shouldn't complain. If I shave that way down, it'll be just about right, but what room have you got to play in future? Okay, I'm bitching. You sound like I'm bitching. I know I'm bitching, but I still have to remember £149. So, the neck wood. Let's have a look at the neck wood. Right, I don't know whether you can see it or not. It's pretty rough. It's rough to feel this way. Now, it looks good. It could have been done with I don't even think it's been sanded, but it looks good. And those frets need clean, but the frets need work on as well. The nut is not a 12-string nut. The nut is just a nut with 12 grooves in it. The grooves are all the same. The large string, small string, there's no difference. which is not quite right. I also noticed that these are a bit high, so I'm going to work on that. Let's just turn this around and look at the tuners when I'm up at that end. I don't see a great deal wrong with them. If they're not overly used, they'll be fine. You know, you're not going to be swinging on these every day. The plastic's still on them. That's okay. The owner, some of them are a bit loose. I'll tighten them up, and I'll take the plastic off for the owner. Well, I enjoy doing it anyway. And all the screws are in nicely, and they're all in line. So okay. And the back. Let's have a look at the back. Haven't had a look at the back, but it's nice. That's nicely done there. That's. And the paint job's very acceptable the whole way around it. So I don't see any major issues. Just a plain back. And that's just plain wood, but it's not being sprayed solid. Somebody's going over it to give it a mottled effect, which is nice. And the sides are the same. But I really like jumbo 12 strings to have the best of wood. This is not bad wood, but it's just wood. You know, there's nothing special about it. So make the most of it while you're playing it. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is get these frets down because they're sharp. Let's check the frets for levelness. Frets are very thin. The thin frets, don't know what they're made of. There's a lot of rocking all the way down. So I would suspect, I think it was this one here. Yeah. From there up, I'm going to take a lot of care to get them all nice and even, but from there down I'm going to bring them down quite low so that they don't get in the road of the frets that are going to be, it's going to be played up here at 12 string. So, right, that's the next job to do. That needs to be that needs to be coated with something because that's just plain wood with a bit of paint on it. It's not bad for 150. Anyway, next job to do is the frets. Maybe give these a little bit of a clean up, the frets, because they're a bit rough. I'm afraid what I might find if I start rubbing them, I'll never scrape them because I think there's a very thin veneer. Right, that feels pretty good. Let me close the blind here. Maybe the light might be better with the blind closed. Unfortunately, closing out the sunlight. That feels pretty good now, and I'm happy with that. So I'll have to do this side, but I have to turn it around. So let's just do that. Okay. Now do exactly the same thing on this side. Right, do exactly the same thing. And that up there. It's not quite as bad. I think it's going to need some of this at the side, sadly. why I say sadly, because you're actually taking a little bit off of the binding by doing that, but it has to be smooth so the fingers don't get chopped off. Right, that's good enough. Now, pause. On pause, time to clean this up. I'm using just a baby wipe. One of the problems I do find with this fretboard is that wood is so dried out that it needs to be moisturized, like my face, so dried out it needs to be moisturized. Where's Georgie Girl? Oh, she's sleeping up there. It's a hot day. Sorry about the fan noises, but I'd be sweating like a pig like love if I didn't have the fan on. It's another hot day. It's 25 degrees in here, and that's pretty hot for me anyway. Now I see a little mark there. What do I see there? What did I see? Just there. Just a little mark on the fret and maybe a bit of color. Now I'm going to give this a good soaking with my favorite job, Bob Dunlop 65. Could be anything that's lemon oily, any lemon oil at all. And don't use your hands to put it on like me. Wait till you see, this is going to get soaked in very quickly into the wood, because that wood is really dry. It's all full of chemicals, lemon oil. It's not just lemons, so don't use your hands. Wear a pair of gloves if you have to, but not me. I'm not going to, because I wash my hands right afterwards, and there's no excuse. I should be wearing a pair of gloves, but I just need to get it into the fretboard, and I'm actually going to do it again, because that is so dry. That probably is part of the problem why it feels so like sandpaper. So I'm only going to let that sit for a few minutes, wash my hands, and then come back and take it off. Okay, let's just take off the excess. I only put this on in case I slipped and scored the body with the sand block. All looking nice. Now the next step, just to check all the tensions on the nuts, and then I'm going to put the strings on. Then I'm going to adjust the height of all these nuts because they're a bit high. But let me just check the tensions on the nuts. I might not need to do much. Stop it, turn it around the right way so I can work at it, clean up the bench a bit, put some strings on it, and then get the height lowered. Right, stringing a 12 string is much more awkward than an ordinary 6 string, especially when you've got a pussycat that wants to eat all the strings. But if you buy a good set of, well, they don't have to be expensive, but say for example the Dario's strings, they come in each one where you have to put them. So the E string comes with a proper size thinner string beside it. So if you're a starter, buy the Dario strings because they come in very simple shapes and sizes. Now I had to change, as you probably can see from the blackness, from the other pegs, because the other pegs are just no use. You give that to a man and he breaks the string and he can't change the string anymore. So luckily I had a 12 string set of black ones which can be lifted out now with a little peg thing. So I'm going to start tuning, much as I hate it. Oh, well, not tuning as such, getting the strings on, because I'm only looking at the height now. This will take a long time to do, so I don't think I'm going to just record it all. It's just a pain, and Georgie Girl will still be there eating strings and torturing me. Okay? Now, that's all the strings on. Georgie Girl is being good because she's sitting there underneath the guitar and is not doing too much damage to the guitar by, or should I say, not doing too much damage to my arms. We had a little play last night and I came off worse for wear. She was a little bit naughty. Now, those are not in tune because I'm going to check the heights now. The height, I'm not sure how fussy I'm going to be about the height down there, but I know that there's lots of room for improvement up at this end. So I'm going to do this all by ear as opposed to, now listen you, not everything is a play game. If you go through my skin onto the shirt, then I'll be upset. So, no, hold on, it's not a game. Stop, stop. Right. Cool down, chill down. No, chill. Chill, babes. I'm going to have to put you down. Right. I'm going to have to put you down on the floor. So, come on. Let me get on with it or I'll put you down on the floor. No! Do you know what'll come out? The spray gun. You have to stop being cheeky now. Come on. She does not like this. It's got water in it, nothing else. And I don't even have to spray her with it. I sprayed her a couple of times when she was a kitten and that was enough. I only have to bring that out and show her it and you see what happens. She's gone. She doesn't like it. So that's better than shouting at her or fighting with her. Now I'm going to bring it down by eye. Who was stealing my tuner, eh? Who stole my tuner? Let me see you. I have done this before. I have clipped the tops and I've accidentally clipped the strings beneath. Yes, I have done it. So before I start to play with these to try to raise them again, I'm going to get it into some sort of tune to see how much the neck stretches, because I may not need to do it if I do that. It's quite a low. I don't bite me. I don't like it. I don't like it, but I guess things happen that way. Boom, boom. Now, you're being a pain today. I think she's restless. Right, that's your wrong spring. So I think I'm going to switch off the camera because I'm just wasting SD space. I'll tune this up and then come back to you. It's in tune, but it won't stay in tune for long because they're brand new strings. But the tuning did change the neck shape, so I don't have to. I went down a bit too far, but it gives it brilliant action. Same with there. Now, I've just tuned it, but have a listen. There's the tuner there. You can see for yourself how quickly it goes out of tune. Brand new strings. So I'm going to let that sit and tune it again later on, and tune it again later on, and then when I've finished, I think I've done all the bad stuff, so I'm going to take off this and I'll let the man do his own the tuners at the back for himself, because people like peeling off the... That is a terrible pick guard. That is an awful cheap one. It's just actually nearly a little sheet of plastic. Again, £149, and you got an acoustic guitar and a loud one, and it's not a bad one. Needed a little bit of toying with, doctoring up, etc, etc, and man will have to replace those pegs for me, because, oh, that's not down in far enough, but because I do this for the animals, and I can't, if I don't do it for the animals, then what's the point of doing it? So I can't afford to do too much, so I got to get a little bit back again for the things that I do. Well, I just spent 15 minutes tuning this since I switched the camera on, and you really have to want 12-string music to put up with having to tune the 12-string. Now you'll notice I have a cloth on my knee because I have shorts on, and I don't want to get my knee sticking against the back of the guitar. Also, my white knee distracts. But let me just check again. It does take a while to get this in tune. It shouldn't be as bad as that once the strings settle in. Now, a couple of tips I would give you about 12-string guitar. Think carefully before you buy one. This is definitely worth 150 quid as long as it lasts and doesn't sink. But for 150 quid, it's not bad. One tip I would give you, you see that neck thickness? That's as thick as a classical guitar. It's 50 millimeters, which is as wide as you can get for a guitar. So even somebody like me still has a little bit of learning curve with my big hands to get to the strings correctly. But I know that the owner of this is 6'5", 6'6", and has big hands. But it's a beautiful sounding guitar. And the 12-string players I know of are great. Glenn Campbell and David Yates from, what's David Yates? Bread. And this is my favorite chord of all. It's perfect for a 12-string guitar. Let me just check the tuning again. Right, but it is a beautiful guitar. You would play nothing else but a 12-string if you had somebody to tune it for you, a professional person sitting beside you. What is it? Sing. It was too nice. guitar to ruin the sound of it by my singing. Oh, big. Oh, it can't do it. The fingers are too sore. For a learner, I wouldn't recommend a 12 string. It's so big. Right, it's going to go home to its daddy now. Everything is fine. I did notice a couple of little blemishes, little dents from below the lacquer there, but you really have to look hard to find them. Overall, I'm quite impressed with this guitar. I haven't tried the electrics. No doubt as brand new electrics will be working fine, but I'll do a little test on it to make sure. And it's got all the European things on the back of it that you could want. Absolute waste of time they are, but you've got them all. You know, what's that noise inside? Another little bit of string. Okay, time to go home. Oh, it's such a wide guitar. No way. Say goodbye. Nice guitar. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.